This is the Apple Watch SE. It was my first Apple Watch and it's been a whole year since its launch. And with the launch of the Apple Watch Series 7, which is a very lackluster update in my opinion, is the Apple Watch SE still worth it a year later? And this being my first Apple Watch, I thought why not I share all the thoughts I have about it using it for the past 1 year. So without further ado, here is my Apple Watch SE review. So this was Apple's entry-level option for the Apple Watch aside from the Series 3, which is an Apple Watch I'd say everyone should avoid at this point. The Apple Watch SE was a first for them and it did not cut a lot of corners compared to the Series 6, so that was a good thing about it. And at the price of $279, which it started at and is still being sold at, the only thing I'd hoped for after the launch of the Apple Watch Series 7 was a price reduction, but it didn't really happen. But still, at $279, this is still a solid Apple Watch for someone who's looking for one. It comes in two sizes like the other Apple Watches, which are the 44 and 40mm ones. I have the 40mm one in space grey as it fits my wrist perfectly without looking tiny like the 40mm one. Okay, so let's start out with the display, and throughout the video you may have noticed something. Yes, I have a crack on my Apple Watch and it happened by accident, which I'll talk about later on, but that doesn't really hamper the overall user experience. I'll talk about this in detail in a hot minute, but other than that, it's a 1.7-inch LTPO retina display which gets quite bright outside, which is a good thing for outdoor readability. It has evenly sized bezels, and the bezels fall in the category of not being too thin or not being too chunky, so that's fine. One glaring omission for the Apple Watch SE in my opinion is the always on display. Now it has the same LTPO display as the Series 5 and the Series 6, and this omission seems odd given it can support it. In my opinion, I feel like it should have one cause it's odd when you look down at your watch in front of someone, but at the same time it results in bad battery life with the Series 6 and the Series 5, which I'll talk about later on. So as far as protection goes, it's the same IONX glass they have been using all this while for the aluminum Apple Watches. And by nature, the IONX glass is tough, but at the same time it's definitely way more prone to scratches and cracks. In my case, I might have banged a wall by mistake, which resulted in this crack I have in this corner. So as you can see, yes, the glass is delicate, so be careful with it. But other than that, the aluminum body has held up well with limited number of scuffs and it's not that chunky, so it's fine. Looking around the watch, we have the speaker grills on the left, which are good for those occasional weird calls that you take on an Apple Watch. Trust me, it's weird doing this outside. Wear AirPods, I don't want to hear your convo at all. Other than that, on the right we have the digital crown and the side button. They're pretty good. I love the digital crown especially, it's such a good way to navigate a smartwatch honestly. Since it's hard to actually navigate on these tiny smartwatch screens, so that's there, and the cherry on top are those haptic feedbacks you get when you go through anything with a digital crown. At this point, Apple is just flexing their power on haptics. Now you may have noticed a red ring over the digital crown on my Apple Watch. Yes, I have the cellular version of the Apple Watch, but I have not really found a use case for it. I got the cellular version since I wanted the sport look band. Now I know I could have customized the Apple Watch with Apple Watch Studio and gotten the band I wanted, but it's not available in my region currently, and getting the band separately would cost the same as getting the cellular version in my region. So I did not bother much, to be honest. The cellular version would be useful for someone who usually leaves their phone behind or for someone who goes for hikes and stuff. I usually have my phone with me at most times, so the cellular version is not for me. But do keep in mind that carriers have their own additional cost for cellular on Apple Watch. And this is the mic quality from the Apple Watch SE. It's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty good for those occasional calls you might take on an Apple Watch. Now let's talk about watchOS. So for all these years I've used Wear OS and Tizen on other watches, and this was my first experience with watchOS. And to be honest with you, I'm not being biased, I really like it. Now many will either defend Far Away or Tizen for offering way more watch face options, but to be honest, I don't find them particularly amusing. I'm pretty content with the watch face options that Apple already offers, and by far my favorite one is the Memoji face one, which gives some nice reactions at times. Apart from watch faces, one big advantage with the Apple Watch are the numerous amount of apps that are available for it. Okay, so one of my favorite apps for the Apple Watch is actually Authy, and it basically gives my authentication codes right on my Apple Watch. So I don't need to go around searching for my phone at all. there are tons of apps for many use cases on the Apple Watch honestly that the competition really cannot catch up to. I'm not saying Wear OS is bad or Tizen is bad, they both have some good features as well, but overall I feel that watchOS is better and way more responsive. Speaking of responsive, the reason why this is still a fast smartwatch is because of the S5, which is from the Apple Watch Series 5. Now yes, you're definitely not going to do anything demanding on your Apple Watch, but you expect it to be at least smooth enough when you use it. So the S5 helps and it's 2 times faster than the Apple Watch Series 3 if that's something you want to know about. But yes, as I said earlier, it's just smooth enough and that's all you need. Now let's talk about a few ecosystem creature comforts you get with the Apple Watch, and the first one which I love so much is Unlock with Apple Watch for the Mac. Now it unlocks your Mac when you're near it. Now if you have a Mac with Touch ID, I don't find this particularly useful, but yes, it's there if you dock your Mac into a desktop setup. And if you pair it with an iPhone with Face ID, then you can use Unlock with Apple Watch when you wear masks. Now you cannot authorize Apple Pay or download apps, but for the times when you want to unlock your iPhone and you're outside wearing a mask, it helps. But at the same time, it's not that secure. I have literally unlocked one of my friend's iPhone, even though we barely look similar.
See, you opened it.
Huh?
You opened it. You didn't use your Face ID, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I had it in my watch.
I don't. How?
Yeah, that's how. Even my friend's phone was the same thing.
Other than that, you can locate your devices with Find My, control your iPhone's camera with the watch, which is actually useful when you're trying to record a video of yourself, and use iMessage. These are just some of the few ecosystem features, but obviously you don't buy an Apple Watch for just using those. For many, it's their way of keeping up with their notifications and mainly keeping fit. And in that regard, it's really good. Let's start with notifications, and like iPhones, it's highly reliable, and the nice haptics you get when you get a notification are the icing on the cake. As I said before about the digital crown, these haptics feel like someone is tapping you. Literally. Okay, enough about haptics. Now let's talk about keeping fit, and yeah, it's good. Now compared to the Series 6, it does lack ECG and blood oxygen. Now ECG would absolutely make no sense for someone like me who is still 18, but it might be useful for people who are older. Now blood oxygen would be useful especially during these times, COVID, but at the same time it's not that accurate compared to a pulse oximetry reader. Again, good feature, but not useful for someone like me right now. Okay, so what about workouts? The Apple Watch actually offers a lot more workout options compared to, again, Wear OS and Tizen. But other than that, I compared the Galaxy Watch Active 2 to the Apple Watch SE for a 2-kilometer run, and they both were in the same pace and they gave the same readings. So I don't find nothing wrong with it. Even the heart rate monitor is pretty good. Nothing special about it, but one specific thing I want to talk about it's pretty good at is catching your irregular heart spikes. Now a few months back, I was in a pretty confused and angry state, and the Apple Watch did detect something was wrong with me since my heart rate was shooting up to an unreasonably high level for my age. Now I don't faintly remember what was happening, but I did get a notification as well as an audible sound until I noticed it. Now you can set a custom level, so that's up to you. But other than that, if you think Apple's marketing for Apple Watch saving lives is a joke, I'd like to prove you wrong with this above incident. Before I talk about battery life, let's talk about sleep tracking. It was a new feature that was added to the SE when it came out, so I got to use it and it's fine. It's not accurate at times, but the data it gets might be useful for someone else if you track your sleep a lot. I don't usually bother about my sleep data that much, but I've noticed enough to know that it's not that accurate. So finally, let's talk about battery life. So the SE lasts for about a whole day, but you have to definitely charge it the very next day. Or if you wish to use the sleep tracking feature, make sure to charge it before you go to bed, because it does die midway sometimes. I have literally woken up with the battery dead sometimes, and this isn't a specific issue with the Apple Watch SE. It's been this way ever since the first Apple Watch, and if the SE did have an always on display, it would definitely die before the end of the day for me. So that's why I don't particularly mind the lack of an always on display. Okay, so what are my final thoughts on the Apple Watch SE? Would I still recommend it? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Other than the omission of an always on display, I'd recommend one if this is your first Apple Watch and for the ones who are on a budget but want an Apple Watch. The only people I'd recommend the Apple Watch Series 6 or Series 7 would be for the ones who need ECG readings and blood oxygen readings on a regular basis. So that's about it for this video. Make sure to drop a like if you liked this style of review and subscribe for some amazing tech videos. This is Sankew and I'll see you guys in the very next video. Peace.